Okay, this is going to be a very different episode of Rowdy Radio. After the election, I was seeing a very tumultuous crowd on social media and in person, so I decided to take a little poll and ask the question to multiple people, and I got quite a few responses, mostly through voice memos, which ended up being, I think, the best way to go with that. But the only question I was asking was, what can we expect in the next 4 years of the Donald Trump presidency? What's life going to be like? What are you looking forward to, etc.? What are your predictions for the next 4 years? And these are the answers. I'm going to go ahead and include them now. And then, of course, we're going to close with a conversation that I had with a friend of mine also over the phone answering that question. So, thanks. And next week, we'll be back with some regular bullshit.
Quisiera que no hiciera, like, hiciera las cosas que propuso, like, deportations and stuff like that, but I really don't know. Um, eso espero, pero en realidad, quién sabe qué vaya a pasar.
Do you expect your life's going to be any different than the next 4 years then, or not?
I want to say no creo, just because, I do live in California, and el gobernador salió, hizo su juntita con los demás, and supuestamente quiere proteger todo lo que tenemos aquí. So I feel like I'm good because I'm over here. I'm okay, not like great, but I mean, I would hope that I'm hoping that not much changes. But it's still, it sucks because, like, most, if not most of all my family, you know, well, I don't have a lot of family, but
But the ones that
family and
matter,
friends, whatever.
yeah, they're in danger.
They're in danger, yeah, and they're in the red zone. So it's like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
I think that women should expect to see their rights disappearing. I think that children should be taken possibly out of their public schools because they're going to be turned into indoctrination academies. I think that you should get yourself to a safe state and possibly to a different country because he's going to take over. And I think he's a piece of shit and disgusting and vile.
Over the next 4 years, I'd like to see Donald Trump actually, boost the economy and maybe get us out of the position that we're in with the debt and everything. But also unify the United States. I think it'd be cool to have the United States, something to be proud of, like made in America products and stuff like that. I think that alongside with like economy work that I'm too dumb to understand, would definitely do that. But also I really, am attracted to the idea of RFK, pressing the FDA and, this whole like stop feeding us poison, in our foods, like cleaning that up. I think that's really cool. That's something I'm really looking forward to. And then also he's said, RFK, that, he wants to explore, like science and stuff, whether that be like peptides, stem cells, all that. I think, if someone's going to make, the U.S. healthy, I think that guy's a pretty good example. He's pretty jacked for, however old he is. But, yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to, is just, more of the stuff that RFK has been brought in to do.
Racism and, stream wax wings.
What do I expect in the next 4 years? Honestly, I literally have no idea. Like, it's so uncertain. I feel like it's been such a weird, like, election. I feel like Donald Trump's not, like, gloating about it or anything. You don't see anything wild yet. And I was expecting kind of, like, for them to be rubbing it into people's faces kind of a thing. And I know some people are, but I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's weird. Like, we literally don't know what's going to happen. Like, is everything going to get expensive? Is our family going to be deported? Is, so many things. Are we really going to lose healthcare? Like, are people really going to let that happen? So I just feel like, yeah, just so much uncertainty.
I really don't know what to expect. I hope that it's some good change, and I hope it's some unity. I feel like him getting elected again is like the United States ripping off a big old Band-Aid, and that hopefully, it can start to heal and unite people, because regardless of the outcomes, we just got to accept it, and we have to support the president. We have to support our country the way that it used to be. And, people can disagree, but I hope this is the stop to people hating each other. So that's what I hope for.
Well, I think the division between people will get a lot worse than it was during his last term. I don't see him ending the genocide, and the cost of living will either stay as it is now or continue to go up. I think that life for women and POCs will become harder, not because of Trump, but because of the MAGA community. I always hope that with each presidency, things won't get worse, but there are two sides of the same coin in the same pocket.
To be honest, at this point, I have no expectations of what's gonna happen. I mean, there is a lot in line. Yo soy minoría de la minoría de la minoría, ¿me entiendes? Aparte de ser gay, aparte de ser hispano, aparte de ser DACA recipient, a mí muchas de sus pólizas me van a afectar en muchas maneras si llega a pasar lo que pasa. Yo no estoy feliz con lo que ha pasado, pero también pienso que no va a poder hacer todo lo que él piensa hacer. Así que también estoy con una manera positiva, ¿me entiendes? Pero no sé en realidad, mi futuro está en claro en este momento, pero pues ya haremos lo que se tenga que hacer en los momentos que se tengan que hacer. I don't hate the guy, I dislike the guy, but I don't hate him. It was very disappointing to me. Y para serte sincero, estoy muy disappointed with our own Latino community, Hispanic community, Mexican community, como lo queramos llamar, por el simple hecho de que todos tenemos familiares, todos tenemos un primo, todos tenemos un amigo, todos tenemos un papá, una mamá, un padrino, no sé, que le va a ser afectado por todo eso, de alguna manera u otra, ¿me entiendes? Eso es cierto, que no, dice el dicho que no hay peor enemigo que otro latino, o que otro hispano, que otro mexicano, como sea.
Not good things, but I can only hope for the best.
Okay, what am I expecting in the next 4 years following this 2024 presidential election? First, I am hoping to see more tax cuts. As someone who owns and operates a self-employed business, anything that has to do with income tax cuts and cuts I can take with that business is very helpful for me. I'd also love to see the U.S. having more energy independence. I'm optimistic that we will come back to buying more American oil, things like that, protecting our pipeline, and hopefully that leads into costs going down on things like gas and groceries. Of course, we're all wanting to see a decline in the inflation and everything that has skyrocketed in the last 4 years. However, I am nervous that we might be heading towards a recession regardless of what is done, because in the economy, there always has to be highs and lows, and we will go through a recession at some point, no matter what. The other thing I'm hoping to see is maybe some sort of law or regulation on transgender women competing in women's sports. I don't agree with it. I do think we should protect women's sports, especially for my own daughters as they get older. I am hoping there can be some sort of regulation. I'm not sure how that looks if we create, a transgender women's category in sports. I'm not sure, but I think it is unfair to allow them to compete in physical sports against biological women. So I'm hoping to see some sort of agenda on that. And then lastly, the thing I am most excited for is that Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to be in charge of our healthcare. He is said to be investigating the FDA, the CDC, and Big Pharma, which I think could be very beneficial for our country. I think we are definitely in a health crisis. Our food is very toxic here in the US. We are allowed far more toxic ingredients to be put into our food than other countries, especially over in Europe. So the biggest thing I hope to see in the next 4 years, like my main thing, is to see more regulations on the ingredients that are allowed in our food, because if we could follow more in like Europe's footsteps on their food regulations, I think we can create a much healthier community. I love that he is investigating the FDA and Big Pharma so that the things they're doing cannot keep us sick, because as we know, it kind of is the biggest business out there. So yeah, I'm really optimistic that we get healthier and we can see chronic disease, especially in children, go down. So hopefully these things happen in the next 4 years, but we will wait and see.
I expect in the next 4 years of Donald Trump for the working class to get totally fucked, labor rights to be eroded, social security to be cut, but most Americans will still just blame immigrants.
The number one thing that I think we are going to definitely see is just probably less availability or higher prices, if not both, on a wide variety of things, primarily because of what Trump wants to do with the tariffs. A lot of the other things that I think are highly probable that have more to do with some of the legal things in the US, primarily surrounding like LGBTQ and immigration and like women's rights. I think that we might not see that in the 4-year term just because it takes so long for a lot of those things to often pass through the Senate. But I do think that we will see a lot of things related to those start to be proposed.
What do I expect in the next 4 years? Well, considering I've already had multiple friends be pretty boldly discriminated against, I expect there to be a big jump in discrimination and people not understanding that people are people. And then, because I'm a hopeful and optimistic person, I see it coming back around and people realizing that they haven't been treating people the best. And for us to all turn back to humanity and just treat people like people. That's what I expect. But, I can't tell the future. So if we go based on history, we got a rough 4 years.
What I expect in the next 4 years under Donald Trump is a continued transfer of wealth from the lower and middle classes to the upper class, to the richest of the rich. He will fill seats in the government with his cronies and with billionaires like the fuckhead Elon Musk. Regulations will be lessened or completely taken away, so our water and food will have more poison in them than they did before. Women's rights will continue to be stripped down. The richest of the rich will get away with whatever crimes they commit. The police and National Guard will be used to quell any sort of uprising, and it'll be like the end of Back to the Future when Biff becomes president and his face is plastered all over on buildings and posters and on skyscrapers. It'll essentially be like that dystopian future that Marty experienced in Back to the Future.
This is tough. I was just saddened by the news of his reelection, and he just represents hatred to me. He's just a disgusting man that will get away with anything because he's white and rich. I honestly don't know how to answer your question. I'm just scared and let down, honestly.
In the next 4 years, I wholeheartedly expect there to be so much chaos within America, specifically more in the red states with people who have rocked with Kamala and all of her policies, and especially people in the LGBTQ community, people of color, women specifically. I just expect there to be a bunch of chaos, and it's unknown how it can get fixed, but I believe that there will be a solution eventually.
What do I expect will the next 4 years be like under Donald Trump? I know that there's a lot of people concerned. I know that has been shared that life was not good for everybody under Donald Trump the last time because people who would act on their own racism seem to be more emboldened, feel more entitled. I'm really hoping that Donald Trump can follow through with ending at least one of the wars that the United States is in. And I'm encouraged that Putin and Xi Jinping from China want to talk to him. So, as far as the anti-war front, I am mildly optimistic. On the domestic front, I don't know. I really am hoping that he is successful in doing something for the people of the United States and ramping down our militaristic presence in the world. But I don't know how it's going to go. And I do ask for God's intervention and protection. Amen.
Hey, what's up?
What up? That number is not even close. What the hell?
Oh, so I have one I have one I sign up for like all like promotional emails and shit so I don't get the phone calls, and then I have my number and they're like really close together.
Oh.
but
Yeah, I was all
well,
confused.
I got you the right one though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that is. We're on the phone now, and that is all that matters. But
But
yeah, man, that's the question I'm asking people, and I was just gonna say, but I'm interested to see how you answer that question. You know, what can we expect in the next 4 years?
I really try to be optimistic for the benefit of, I don't know, my mental health and the mental health of those around me, but I'm not feeling very optimistic at all about the next 4 years. I don't feel anything good about it, to be honest. Like, I'm not really gonna, I'm not an expert, and like, I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert in like economics or foreign and domestic policy. So I'm probably just gonna give you the answer of what I think's gonna happen socially. But I think it's gonna be a lot like 2020 as far as anger and confusion and violence goes, just minus the disease. And I don't know, I just think all the racism, misogyny, homophobia, all of that's just it's just gonna. I think we're gonna be seeing a whole hell of a lot more of that. Because I don't know. I think Donald Trump is just the perfect environment to to grow that sort of thing. I think he's just, in my opinion, he's just a petri dish of hate and ignorance and confusion. And I'm really afraid for all the women and all the LGBTQ people in my life. And the optimistic side of things is I'm really hoping he's just going to pull the classic politicians move and just not follow through with all of his promises that he's been saying during his campaigning. But I'm I'm not very hopeful with that, and I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't even really see him stepping down from office in 2028. I think once he gets in that thing of power, position of power, I think they're going to want to hold on to that as long as they can. And looking from a historical point of view, there's nothing more dangerous and more damaging to the world than a government who thinks God is on their side. Because in their eyes, they can do no wrong. You talk against them, you're talking against God. And this whole total abortion ban thing just scares the shit out of me because they're even banning that in cases of like stillbirth, like when it's not even the mother's, it's nobody's fault. And shit, if they got their way 20 years ago, I wouldn't be here because of that. I wouldn't be here today. it's just, I don't know. It's just like it's been a week. I'm still trying to figure out how to comprehend it. It's just wild to me that you can just be blatantly racist, homophobic, anything, anti anything, and and people still vote for you. It just, the whole thing's just backwards. Like, you can be a convicted felon, but you can't vote, but you can get elected to president, apparently. It's just wild to me. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic, but I'm just gonna keep the people I love close and hope for the best.
And do what we can. I think that's what's been so disheartening to me with this project. I came up with the idea. I think I want to say like Wednesday or Thursday, but I just sat on it. I'm like, am I gonna do it? Am I gonna call people? Am I gonna have them send in voice notes? But the people that are, it just feels like a lot of us are giving up, and that's scary to me.
Yeah,
It's like I can understand it because it does feel like fuck, we tried everything else. Why do we keep and we keep losing? It's like, but I just don't feel like we should give up. It's like we
Oh
need to put
no.
up a fight. We need to show them who we are and that we're here still.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah, what I did, I don't this isn't this isn't very sound advice. I don't think well, I'm not giving this as advice. It worked for me. I don't know if it's going to work for anybody else, but when the results came in, I just had a 2-day period where I felt defeated. I was depressed, crying, drank, and then after that 2-day period, never again. I didn't let it. I got it all out of my system those 2 days.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling great. I'm angry, but not in a way to where it's all I'm thinking of, so to speak.
That's
I'm
exactly how I
ready to
was.
do.
Yeah,
I'm
those
ready to
first few
do.
days was that's all I was thinking of, and it was just feeling down and thinking about my daughters and thinking about my friends. That because when it comes right down to it, I'm not really affected by a whole lot of that stuff, you know. But you know, people that are close to me can be affected. People that are close to me that don't have full legal status in this country. People that are close to me that are gay or trans or and then of course a lot of women. I have a lot of female friends. I have 2 daughters. It's like what kind of world are they going to grow up in?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
You hit the nail on the head. That's about how I am. I'm not. I don't think I'll get too. I don't think I'm going to suffer the brunt of it. But yeah, like you said, I've got friends who aren't full citizens. I've got gay friends, trans friends, a lot of women in my life that I care about.
Yep.
But yeah,
And that's why
I
it's like
just
it's time to put up the fight. Like if
oh yeah.
that's the only part I'm optimistic about is that it's like you said, like not all presidents follow through with their promises. But what's scary is that this fool has, like time after time, like even just the fact that he became president. I remember when he first started saying he was running for president, I would laugh and thought it was just it's a joke. Next thing we know, he is president, and he now and just every turn he took, we just assumed that's the end of it, and then he would come back again. The January 6th, his felony charges, all of that, you would assume that's gonna take him out of the race, and here he is again. So it's like we can't take it.
Yeah,
We can't take anything he says lightly anymore.
no, and the way I look at it, I would rather overreact than just kind of just laugh something off, not pay attention to it at all. I'd rather when it comes to shit like that, I'd rather, yeah, like I said, overreact than just ignore it and then let something worse happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that it's just wild to me. I think we're probably going to see a lot more of that. A lot of those like little small groups trying to intimidate people who don't fit into their perfect mold. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just makes me feel tired
Yeah. That's
because I just realized the other day he's next year, no, 2026. That's going to be 10 years we've had to deal with this guy.
Yep.
10 years. That's insane.
Yeah. And
But
before he was just some guy that would come on TV on occasion, give people a laugh with his absurdities, and that was it. But
yeah, who knew fucking Home Alone lobby dude would be the biggest threat to our democracy. It's
real.
just so crazy. It's like another reality in a TV show. It's just like
Yep.
everything's so upside down. It's just like he could wipe his ass with the American flag on live television tomorrow, and people would be like, "Oh, well, that's just a big middle finger to the deep state," and he's actually that's actually justified.
Yep.
It's
That's
just,
he gets away with
yeah.
everything. And you know, I myself am a felon. I could not vote in this election, but it's like you said, he was able to become president. Like, man, I should have ran. Is what I should have done.
Oh hell yeah, you'd have my vote.
No, man.
It's just, yeah, the favoritism is just blatant, or not, the double standards just blatant now.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's just, yeah, it's just wild. I'm still, yeah, a lot of the people I know in those communities, the LGBT, all the women in my life, like their mental health's pretty much at an all-time low at
Yeah. It's scary.
this week. So it just kind of, going back to what I said earlier, just I let it affect me for 2 days, a couple days, get it out of my system, and then after that, just
Yeah.
protect the people you care about.
And that's why I
Look out
started
for 'em.
asking. That's why I started asking this question. You know, here we are a week later because I figured at the beginning it was going to be too emotional for all of us, and for both sides. Because I actually have asked this question to a few people, and I'm hoping they respond. A few people that I know that voted for Trump, that are pro Trump. It's like I looked for people that I know voted for Trump that aren't just like, yeah, fuck yeah, MAGA and go Trump 2024 and all this shit. Like people that I've seen post things that even though I don't agree with, they're trying to rationalize it, you know, in a more responsible way instead of just screaming shit at us, you know. So I've
Oh
asked them,
yeah,
and I really hope they respond to it so that I can play those among the other responses just to see what the difference is. Because at this point,
yeah,
like we just got to admit he won. We got to see what we can do to work with the current state. Hopefully he does leave office after 4 years. Hopefully he doesn't just take over forever now. So those are the things we just got to watch out for and hopefully work together with them.
yeah, I can kind of give you a little insight on the way they're justifying it, because I think me and then one other person in my family that ended up voting for third party, I think me and them are pretty much the only people in my entire family that hasn't voted for Trump. So their reasoning is it's the classic lower taxes, and they're really paranoid that we're letting in a shit ton of migrants to steal the jobs and everything, according to them. And then you got the classic spite, or they'd rather just not vote for the other side. But I don't know. Take what I said about that with a grain of salt until you actually physically get a response from them, though.
Yeah. The thing I've seen a lot of them also is the whole we don't want men going into little girls assaulting girls in the restroom. It's
Oh,
like when has that happened? Like when men have assaulted girls in the bathroom, it's never been trans women. It's always been
oh yeah,
just men.
that's oh yeah, that's a whole new. Yeah, it's really funny. The protect the children crowd doesn't have a single thing to say about all those pictures of Trump sitting there smiling with Epstein.
Yeah,
Jeffrey
exactly.
fucking Epstein.
Hmm.
It's insane.
The guy that's saying he's going to protect women whether they like it or not is also going to grab them by the pussy whether they like it or not. It's like God, man.
Yeah,
It's disgusting, man.
it's just so backwards. It's just,
And whether or not they allow
it
people
can't
to
be.
have restrooms that cater to the people that are going to assault people in the bathroom, it doesn't matter whether they're trans, they might be trans, they might be straight, they might be cis, whatever.
Yeah, assault's assault.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen from, yeah, and it's just, half those people have never ever met or looked at a trans person in their entire life.
Yeah.
They're just stuck in their little bubble, their little idea of what the outside world is like.
Yeah, they're just scared of something
It's just,
different, and it's like, doesn't affect you if it doesn't affect you, like you don't have to try to put them down and ruin their lives, but
well, it's because the freedom crowd,
yeah.
the ones always chanting about free speech and my freedom to do this or that, deep down inside, real freedom scares them.
Yeah.
The freedom to marry who you want, the the, the freedom to be what gender you want. It's just, yeah.
And that's what's scary to me also with the responses is that a lot of people are choosing not to respond, or they're responding just via text and saying, I don't want to really participate, but here's my opinion, that kind of thing. It's almost like we're giving up that freedom of speech. And I think that's a big part of why we lost also, because this whole time everybody's been scared to talk about these topics because they don't want to end up, at odds with their friends or coworkers or fellow students, whatever it is, whatever peer it is. They don't want to end up at they don't want to end up fighting with those people, so they just rather not talk about it. And then that's what happened. That's how we lose, is by not speaking what we really feel and what our opinion really is.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I never just be the one to talk politics or bring up politics. Frankly, I hate nothing worse
Yeah.
in this world than politics. I hate it so much. But yeah, I think the minute we stop talking about it is when we're compliant.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, I mean, this, and we'll just kind of wrap up now, and I think I'll use this at the end of the show, but because now I've given my opinion also, but it's, our podcast is just, I try to keep it as evergreen as possible to where you could listen to an episode a year, 2 years, a decade later, and hopefully it's still amusing. But some things I just feel like have to be addressed. This is really going to be dated in a year, in a couple months, maybe even. But I just wanted to get a real feel of what people are actually feeling post-election, and it's like you said, like we might try to be optimistic, but it's really not looking good and not feeling good. So we'll just go forth from there. Next week we'll put out another episode that's hopefully a lot more fun than this, but this hopefully gives people a view into what, a little cross section of what people are thinking and feeling.
Yeah, this is good. I'm glad you're doing this. This is a time capsule.
Yeah.
I think this is something that we can look back on in 10 years and see how we felt at the time.
Yeah, and hopefully look back and see how wrong we were,
Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be awesome.
To look back and be like, man, I said that shit. That was stupid as hell.
Oh my God, I was overreacting.
Hopefully,
I hope so. But yeah, I say, don't let it defeat you. Be optimistic, but not over optimistic.
Yeah. We still got to put up in the fight and keep moving forth.
Just keep your loved ones close, the ones that are affected by all that bullshit.
Yep. Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for your time, man. It was good talking to you.
Voice
to voice instead of just texting each other bullshit. But
I know it's weird. I'm talking with a dude on Spotify.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, you'll have to let me know when. I haven't been on Spotify in a while because I'm going through the CD phase at the moment. So you'll have to let me know when the episode drops.
Yeah,
I'll give her a listen.
Hopefully just, if not tomorrow, it's sometimes this week. But yeah, I'll send it to you for sure. So.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too.
Yep, bye-bye.
See ya.